amazing what can happen when a community rallies around a great idea to help kids at risk. Today, on Top of Mind, we're on location at MindDrive, the brainchild of Steve Rees. I'm Tom Rue, and this is Top of Mind. Today I'm joined with Steve Rees of MindDrive. Steve, thank you so much for having us here today, and
thank you, Tom.
Thanks for letting us move all the stuff around here so we can get a pretty picture of it all.
It's okay.
So why don't you start things off for us and just begin at the beginning. You know, how did MindDrive come into existence?
It started at De La Salle. I had kind of a relationship with De La Salle, and I'd retired, and I asked them if I could teach a class in Creative Studio, and they said, sure, you can start tomorrow. And basically it was the idea that I noticed these kids had certain grit in them because of their circumstance in life that a lot of kids who have everything don't have. And this kind of feeling got me to the point where I thought, maybe these kids in a creative environment could actually be more creative than a normal kid. So we started a class called Creative Studio and Entrepreneurial Studies. They did everything from build bridges out of toothpicks to read the New York Times business section to, because I was a car guy, we would do little models of cars. And then they wanted to do a larger, so we did a full-scale model out of styrofoam.
Of a car?
It's just the shape, and it was actually pretty extraordinary. They did a really good job. And then through this process, the kids kept saying, well, why can't we build a real car, And I said, we can't do that, And literally, probably I heard it 50 times, and I thought, I'm here to try to get them to think outside the box, and I think I'm the one standing in the box.
Right.
And at that time, it was a pretty tough crew at De La Salle. I mean, the kids were basically kids who had been kicked out of the Kansas City School District. And it was a rough group. But a lot of things came out of that were little jewels. I mean, absolute jewels. So that was kind of the beginnings of the program, and we started doing that, and then I could tell we were a little bit out of the norm of De La Salle, and then we were working off campus, doing large-scale stuff, and so we started a 501c3, and I found an old wrecked Indy car, and we bought it for a song and fixed the hole in it, and we go, wow, this is a lightweight car. It had titanium parts and carbon fiber, and we started doing calculations, and we thought, if we could make this electric, it would only weigh 1,000 pounds. And so that's exactly, and that's what this is. We literally, they fabricated this car and we made it electric, and it got 445 miles per gallon equivalent for an electric car at the Texas Proving Grounds of Bridgestone.
Take us through what a week looks like for a student in the program. I mean, how does the week unfold for them?
We have our main two classes. One is in automotive design, the other is in communications. And the automotive design is where we take, in this case, we're taking 4 Karmann Ghias and making them electric. And the students are doing anything from restoring cars, which means tearing them apart and putting them back together, to building cars. The class goes from 9 until 1 on Saturday. At the same time, the communications class is happening, and they're kind of treating us almost like a client. Students are learning to do writing, photography, videography, editing, and also social media. They do a lot of blogging and things like that. So those are our two primary classes. We also have on Wednesday night a class in welding, and we have a class in 3D computer, and we have a 3D printer, and so it's an opportunity for those that are interested in something more specific to do that.
You started it with an idea. You yourself said I was a car guy, which is kind of what motivated this agenda, so to speak. Right. But then how did that go from an idea to what it is today? Because that's a heck of an entrepreneurial journey in and of itself.
There's a guy who wrote a book called Pattern Language, and it's about if something is good, it will just move on its own, basically. And that's what's happened with MindDrive. I wish I could say I was the genius behind everything that makes this happen, but it's really the reason we have this car today is because the students bugged me to do that. And the reason we're doing one thing after another is because the students are pushing. And so they see this as an opening for them to expand. And we're literally just kind of watching it happen. and it's very exciting. And it really deflates the notion that it's too late when these kids are in high school to save them. A lot of people talk about, well, you got to get them in middle school, and the reality is it isn't too late. And we've got tons of kids to prove it. Our mission statement is to engagement in education, and we're doing it through hands-on, experiential learning, heavy dose of mentors, reality projects, current technology projects about the environment, stewards of the environment, and then to expand their vision of the future.
The big testament is to see the kids that come back. Like there's a girl that's here today that has been a student and is now in college, which is the most rewarding from a mentor and a board perspective is really to see what they do afterwards. That's the goal of what we're trying to do.
And I got into MindDrive for the wrong reasons, because I heard about the trip at first and I was like, oh, I want to go on the trip, so that's why I'm going to get into it. But after developing a relationship with everybody and actually learning how to do things like this, I actually liked it. Now I'm trying to do an internship over at MoDOT, Missouri Department of Transportation. So kind of trying to get into different things because of MindDrive.
We use the word family, and we really are a family in the sense that just when you come and when you leave, it's not over. It's just that you're in a different phase of where you are in your life.
Where have been the sources of the best support and the most support you've gotten for the program thus far?
The cool thing about our little 501c3 is that we not only have a value philanthropically locally in our community, but Bridgestone has a corporate initiative to be a green company. They want to sell green products, and guess what? This little car has Bridgestone tires on it.
Oh, does it now?
Yeah, Ecopia tires. They're a low rolling resistance tire. So they see the value in us on a broader spectrum. Same thing with Hertz. They have a global initiative on sustainability. And so Kansas City Power and Light, they're all about energy and education.
Right.
So they can tag on to us and get value in terms of marketing their products or increasing their brand image to be more green.
I always have to ask this question. I know it's kind of a required question, and maybe it's a little silly, but 5 years from now, where do you see the program being? And if you had the wherewithal to wave the wand and say, this is where I'd like to see it, what would that look like?
Well, we've gotten a lot of interest in Kansas City, but beyond Kansas City. We just did a tour. We started out and we did the thing at Bridgestone Proving Grounds. Next year, the kids drove an electric car from San Diego to Jacksonville, Florida. The next year, from Akron, Ohio, at Bridgestone to Washington, D.C. This year, down the coast of California. So a lot of things are happening out there. And on the trip to Washington, D.C., we had a thing where you would call in, or not call in, that's old school. You would either tweet or do an Instagram, and each one of those had value. Bottom line, when it was done, we had 49 million tweets.
Say again?
49 million tweets.
Million.
And we had 450 million media impressions around the world. On one night, there were 380 news stations in America that showed a video about the tour.
Wow. I can honestly say we've done nothing at the Kauffman Foundation that has that kind of pickup.
Well,
so congratulations.
What it is, it's several things. One, people were interested in the fact that we had this media thing that was, literally kind of allowing the car to move forward. But it was about technology, about education, it was about the environment. So it has a lot of legs on the stool.
Right.
And to answer your question about the future, well, we now have an affiliate in Melbourne, Australia.
Do you really?
Yeah, and they came from that trip, and we got that media. And they're serious, and they're working with the university down there, and it's we have an hour and a half conversation with them every Thursday, and it's an example of, I think, where the future is. And we have to figure out how to be able to, multiply this so that other people can do the same thing.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be about cars. It could be about urban gardens or anything.
So really, the MindDrive really is just the platform. What actually goes into the box, so to speak, could be cars in this case, but it could be anything else.
Yeah, we had someone in Austin, Texas that was interested that wanted to do something with electric bicycles. We had someone in California that's interested that, there's electric cars. We have someone in Colorado, in Ouray, Colorado, that's doing solar cars. So it's It can be anything. It's really about adults getting involved in the education of the children of their community.
Let's hope that the community can continue to support and maybe come out a little bit stronger for you and increase the capacity and change a few more lives along the way. I really want to thank you for allowing us in your
welcome.
clubhouse today.
Yeah.
It was a great place. We moved around several of these vehicles. Hopefully we didn't mess the place up too terribly bad, but congratulations on just an incredible program that's really changing the lives of people.
That race right there.